Hey there, intention seekers, it's Jennifer Matthews back again for day number 3 of the 30-day mindset challenge. And I'm really excited about bringing this to you today because it is something that I'm really passionate about, and it's something that if we can just get past, then we'll be able to really thrive in this world. But before we get started, just hold on just one sec. It's time to celebrate. And no, it's not alcohol or anything like that. It's nice crisp iced tea, and that is because it is 33 degrees Celsius in Australia and it is hot. So I've got some nice sugar-free iced tea here that I'm enjoying, and I want you to celebrate with me. Get yourself a nice glass of water or whatever's your favorite drink, and let's get started talking about failure. Okay, failure is just a natural part of life, but we fear it so much. Why is it that we fear failure so much? Well, within this particular video, I'm going to go through 10 benefits you can achieve by actually failing. That's right, it's not a bad thing. Okay, I have failed numerous times in my life, and I celebrate every single one of them. And if somebody says that I've failed something, I go, yep, you're right, but that has moved me towards where I am now. Now, before we go into it, I want to go through 5 different quotes that I have found when it comes to failure, and these are legends in the field that have realised how important failure is to our ultimate success. Right, now I've got them written down here, so I am going to have to look away from the screen for a bit, but yeah, but I'll just look down and I'll check out the quotes and I'll let you know what they are. So the first one is from one of my favourites, and that is Jack Canfield. And in I think it was yesterday's video, or it might have been the day before, I did talk about Jack Canfield's book, and that's because he's one of my favourite authors, and yeah, and I'm hoping to meet him one day. So he said that everything that you want in life is on the opposite side of fear. And that couldn't be more like close to the truth. It is the truth. Okay? So our failures, by failing, and I'll go into through this shortly when I actually get to the 10 reasons why you want to fail or why you should celebrate failure. The more we fail, the closer we become to finding our purpose and to finding the solutions that we need to really progress in this life. Okay, so that's quote number 1. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. That's what he said. And when he talks about fear, he's talking about fear of failure. Okay, fear of failing something. Quote number 2 is by someone known as Chris Bradford. Now, Chris Bradford said, "There is no failure except in no longer trying." Okay, so as long as you get up, you dust yourself off and you keep going, then that's no failure, that's just progression. Okay, quote number 3 is by somebody we all have heard of, and that is Thomas Edison. And it's probably a quote that you've heard of too. "I've not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that don't work." Okay, and there have been many athletes out there, I think Michael Jordan was similar, where they said that, you know, they haven't failed. They've just tried and tried and tried again until they succeed. Quote number 4 is by someone known as Paulo Coelho. And he said, "There's only one thing that makes a dream impossible and impossible to achieve, and that's the fear of failure." Okay, anything is possible in this life. Absolutely anything. If you're willing to go for it, to believe in it, and to do what you need to reach those intentions. That's what my business is about. That's what my purpose is, to teach you the importance of intentions, to teach you the importance of using your mind, of really harnessing that brain power and that mindset that you've got to be able to achieve anything you want in life. It is possible. Okay, any dream's possible as long as you don't give in to the fear of failure. And then quote number 5 is by somebody known as Eloise Ristad. And she said, "When we give ourselves permission to fail, we at the same time give ourselves permission to succeed." Okay? And that is so true. Okay? If we just allow ourselves to fail and we don't see it as a negative, okay, then we will reach success. But you've got to give yourself permission to fail. And the thing is that when we fail, okay, it can actually motivate us to move forward. And I'll be going through 10 different reasons why this is the case. Right? Now, the first thing that you need to realise, reason number one, is that you need to face your fear. Okay? So fearing failure can actually stop you from attempting to achieve the biggest dreams in the world. Okay? Fearing failure can stop you from taking all the necessary steps that you need to take to be able to really propel yourself in whatever area it is that you're interested in. Okay? So the benefit of failing is to get over that fear of failure. Okay, the more you fail, the more comfortable you become with it. And I'm not saying to go out there, or maybe I am, to go out there and purposely fail, because we do want to succeed. But just don't believe that just because you failed that you have to give up. Okay? Enjoy the failure. Okay, whenever you fail, it's just another lesson that you've learned. I think that when you fail, it's a great time, as I said with the title of this particular video, it's a great time to really celebrate it. Get around with some friends and family, those that you can trust and those that you know support you, and discuss this particular failure with them. Discuss how you're feeling, and then write down a list as to the reasons why it may have happened, why you may have failed, and what you can do to move forward. Okay? This is really, really important. So once you've figured out what the failure is, why you failed, then you can take the steps that you need to make sure that it doesn't happen the next time. Number 3. Okay, by failing, it makes sure that you maintain your enthusiasm. Okay, use failure as motivation. If you refuse to get yourself up, to get up and dust yourself off after your failure, then you really have failed and it ends there. But if after failing, you get up, you dust yourself off and you move forward and you figure out strategies to move forward, okay, then you've never really failed. You've just learned those lessons that you need to learn. So by failing, it allows you to learn to keep the enthusiasm up, even in the case of failure. Okay, it also allows you to see the situations a lot clearer. For instance, I've failed with numerous online ventures that I've done. I've been in the online space for, 8, 9 years, I suppose, doing different things. Okay, and I've failed with numerous ones. And I probably should have pivoted years ago, but if I had have done that at that particular point, then I wouldn't have learnt the lessons that I've learnt now. I wouldn't have learnt what I mustn't do in the next stage of my life, right? I would still be making those mistakes. So look at failure, look at every time that you fail as a stepping stone to success, right? So failure is really important to be able to learn the lessons as you go forward. Another thing I find with failure is that it really teaches you who your true friends and family are. Because during hard times and during times of failure, like for instance, say you went bankrupt, you lost all your money, you lost your house, and often situations like this can split up marriages. Okay, it can, or on the other spectrum, you may win millions of dollars, right? But then suddenly all you see is friends and family coming out of the woodworks. And how many lotto winners have earned all this money and then they've just completely fallen flat because they've, and I suppose you could see that as a failure, couldn't you? You win all this money, but then you're bankrupt within, 2 or 3 years. Okay, so bankruptcy is one, I suppose, failure, which you can learn from. What did you do to allow your financial situation to get like that? As you're rebuilding and the next time as you go forward, right, then you need to figure out strategies that make sure that doesn't happen again. But you'll notice that during times of hardship and during times of pain and times of failure, you'll notice some of your friends and sometimes even family will diminish and they won't want to be around you anymore. Well, that just tells you who your true friends and family are. Those that are really worth it will be those that will be sticking by your side, ready to congratulate you on your failure in some cases, or ready to just be there for an ear to listen. Right, what have we got next? Failure actually allows you to figure out the different directions to take, okay, in order to achieve that common goal. So to get to a goal or to an intention, there are thousands of different things you can do. Okay, there are thousands of different ways you can get there. If one doesn't work, then put on your thinking brain and figure out another way that might get you there. Okay, for instance, people that diet, this is one common example, okay? You know, the yo-yo dieter, they diet, they fail. And you know what? I'm going to tell you a little secret. I've been a yo-yo dieter my entire life, okay? Which is why I'm so passionate about the nutrition field. And because of that, right, I have learned that there are certain things that my body cannot tolerate. There are certain things that prompt me to gain weight, that prompt me to have greater carbohydrate cravings, or that just don't agree with my digestion. I have learned to listen to my body and to try not to consume the foods that are going to trigger those issues. Okay, because I've failed. I've failed at fat loss. Yes, I've lost weight, no problems. You know, I can lose weight and I can lose it quick. But unless you learn the lessons through that whole experience, you're just going to put it back on again. And that's exactly what's happened to me. And this is what happens to those yo-yo dieters. Okay, so, you know, even if you fail at weight loss, it doesn't mean that you're never going to lose weight. It means that you've got to just figure out, why have I failed at it? Why is it that every time I lose weight, I put it back on again? Research. Try the different eating plans. I know that carbohydrates don't agree with me. I try to stay away from them. Because the moment I consume them, my blood sugars rise and, you know, I get carbohydrate cravings and I start to put on the weight. So figure out how your own individual body works. And I think that's a reason why I've really pivoted towards this mindset field, because I realise that nutrition is really, really important. It is, without a doubt. What you put in your mouth is incredibly important when it comes to maintaining weight and staying healthy. But that's not possible if your mind's not right. So we're going to start from the beginning, get our mind right so that we can really program ourselves to be able to consume the foods that our body is meant to be consuming. Okay, that's just one example, is fat loss, because that's one that a lot of us have issues with in today's society. So then the seventh one is it allows us to become more creative and to come up with new ideas. Once you've failed at something, especially if your income's reliant on it, how many people have gone out and started a business and they've thought, oh, this is fantastic, especially an online venture. They've thought, oh, this is fantastic, I'm earning this money and everything's great. Then they go and give up their full-time job and then all of a sudden the online business goes kaput. How many of people have you heard of that? Or what about those that have amazing stories where they've been made redundant and they've picked themselves up and they've been creative and they've found another avenue, like Pat Flynn. He's a perfect example of this. He's found another avenue through his Smart Passive Income blog, which is amazing, by the way. And if you haven't listened to Pat Flynn, you have got to go and listen to him. And he's another one that I'm hoping to have on the podcast because he inspires me, right? He has done so much with his life. He's gotten over so many obstacles, as we all have. And he inspires me. So I'm hoping to have him on the podcast when time permits, because I know that he is incredibly busy too. Okay, so he has used that failure, that loss in his life, that redundancy, to propel him, to move him towards another area. Okay, now how you see failure is completely dependent on you. It's completely independent. Okay, when I say failure, some things we may not see as in our control, like Pat losing his job. Okay, but you may see failure as something that just doesn't go the way we plan. And if that's the case, well then I suppose that's failure. But Pat would be one of the first people to say that that it's really important to go through these experiences to be able to move forward and to be able to really, he's the first one to say that if he didn't get made redundant, he wouldn't be in the situation he is now. Isn't that exciting? I am so excited about the future of, some people complain about technology and some people complain about, online businesses and all that. But aren't you excited about the possibilities that are out there? Right? We're in an era at the moment where anything's possible. Okay, if you look back at my grandmother's day, where women were housewives and mothers, and you know what? They are the most important jobs in the world. So in no way am I ever going to say they were just mothers or just housewives, because I'm a mother and I'm a housewife as well. But never ever would we be allowed to go and have our own careers. Would we be allowed to go and build our own business and have that freedom and independence that we do now? Never would our kids be able to start their own online businesses. That just never would have happened. So I for one, am super excited about where the future is going. Failure builds resilience. Oh, this is something that is so incredibly important, and especially in, I suppose, with our kids. My daughter, I've been trying to teach her resilience for a few years, and she went through a time at school where she was bullied a bit, year 5. But you know what? She built up so much more resilience to be able to deal with that when she went into high school. Now, she had some health issues in that we found out that she was quite badly iron deficient because she was getting really, really bad blood noses, right? So she became iron deficient, and we didn't know about it for about a year. So she was really low on iron. And for those that don't know anything about iron, okay, iron is important for circulating blood, right? So what happened was then she didn't have energy, she was getting constant migraines, she just wasn't the happiest person to be around. Well, eventually she was so sick, like I was literally, and this is part of the reason why I put on some of the weight, and I'm not using it as an excuse at all, because I could have taken it off by now, right? But we went for about a year, that year that we didn't know what was wrong, where I was getting about 4 hours of sleep a night because I was up with her because she was sick. Okay, and she had constant migraines and she couldn't sleep, and she was so much so she was in tears. And one day she came to me, and she was having so much time off school because she was so sick. One day she came to me and she said, "Mum, I want to get a blood test." I'd been convincing her for ages. Let's go get a blood test, figure out what's wrong, something's going on. And she'd had so much that she said, "Let's go have a blood test." Okay, so we traipsed off down to the doctor's office. They took some blood. I remember she looked at me because she was freaking out beforehand. She looked at me and she said, "Mum, is that all that's to it? Oh, that didn't hurt at all." And the next thing, she blacked out and she started convulsing. And it was the scariest thing that I've ever seen, because she just didn't know what had happened. She felt so sick she wanted to throw up. And what we realised, which we didn't know at the time because of her iron deficiency, when they took that blood out of her, she didn't have the iron left. So she started convulsing. Okay, we got her sorted, found out it was the iron deficiency, put her on the iron tablets, and then things just improved dramatically. Her resilience has gotten so much better, and like I teach my kids, resilience is something that we need to be able to build throughout our entire lives, right? Because resilience is going to allow us to deal with these failures that come up, to deal with things that just don't go our way. Because let's face it, We've all got things that don't go our way. And so by failing, it builds up this resilience. This resilience is like a muscle. Okay, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. And therefore you don't fear that failure anymore. You welcome it and you go, oh, that way doesn't work. Great, I can move on to the next way. If it does work, that's equally as good because we've found what we need. Okay, so it builds up that resilience muscle. Number 9, failure allows you to realise you're not invincible. Okay, we all think that it's never going to happen to us, don't we? I mean, come on, that couldn't possibly happen to me. I couldn't go bankrupt. I'm too good with money. Next thing you know, real estate goes down, all sorts of stuff happens, and you just never know what happens. Nobody is invincible. Things happen. The economy goes down. There's always a solution, right? By failing, it allows us to realise that, hey, we're just like anybody else. We can fail just as much as anybody else can. But this resilience I was talking about, this is what's going to get you to the next stage. Right, so that's number 9. Failure allows you to realise you're not invincible. Failure teaches us that in order to achieve true success, it's going to take some work. Stop waiting for that big break to happen. Okay, yes, success may seem to come easier to some people, but these people that success comes to, they don't tell you, but they've been working on it for years and years and years. Right? It hasn't just come easy to them. Right? There have been people in the online space that are earning a lot of money, they're very successful, they're very well known for a number of reasons. And, these people are the people that I'm going to be speaking to on my Living Your Intentions podcast starting in January, and I'm so excited. I started interviewing in December and I am so pumped. So remember to check that out. And if you haven't subscribed and liked to this channel so far, then definitely do that because that would be awesome. So anyway, just realise success doesn't always come easy. You do have to work for it. You have to believe in it. You have to believe in yourself because you can do it, because anything's possible. So guys, I really hope that you have learned a lot from this particular video. I hope that you now understand that failure is not a bad thing. Failure is something that we need to celebrate. Cheers. And it's also something that that we need to accept is going to happen. Don't fear it. Okay, keep trying things until you find something that works. So what's your homework for today? Well, today I want you to list 3 things, just three, that you have failed at in life. Okay, it's hard, I know. It's hard. You can be talking about anything to do with parenting. It could be anything to do with weight. It could be anything to do with health. And like I said, failure is different to different people. It may just be something that hasn't worked out for you. It may be something that you've failed because you've done something wrong. Whatever, right? And so 3 things. Could be something to do with a business, right? And then I want you to figure out why you failed at those things. What were the reasons that you failed? It's going to take some real digging deep, right? Think of the reasons why you failed and then what you did to overcome them. And what I would really, really love, I want to get some interaction with you guys. This is my new venture. This is my new pivot. I'm excited. I want you guys to be excited. And I want to, I'm putting this time in to do this 30-day mindset makeover for myself and also for you guys. So I want you guys to please, if you feel comfortable, comment below the video as to, it could be 1, 2, or 3 of the failures, as well as why you got there and how you got over it. It might help some other people, right? It might help give other people ideas. They might have the same failure, but they don't know how to get out of it. And your input may help them. Okay, don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed to say something. People most likely don't know who you are, right? And so yeah, so just do that. And also, what I wanted to say was I am looking at next year, because I am interviewing podcast experts, not podcast experts, mindset experts. I am looking at doing maybe one episode a week starting next year. I'm not sure when I'm going to start it up, where I talk to everyday people and I get some everyday stories about how you've used mindset to overcome some sort of obstacle. And so if you are interested in that, please email me at jen@livingyourintentions.com and let me know, because I would love to have you on the podcast.